Hi, I'm Rick Dior. And yesterday I did a video on kind of refurbishing or just, cleaning, changing some heads on these two drums I'm going to show you today. So this first one is the Steve Ferrone, or Steve Ferrone, as I've heard some people say it, snare drum. It's an old drum from the 1990s. It's a Pearl drum. It is not made anymore, but I believe it's kind of recreated in the new Pearl Sensitone snares. So it was, at the time, I considered it, and some other people did too, as sort of a Black Beauty copy, almost like a ripoff. But when compared to the Black Beauty, actually it sounds a little bit different. First of all, to me, it's a little bit deeper and it's darker. It's the darkest snare drum that I own, that I actually use quite often. If I have a session that, some folk music, kind of Americana kind of stuff, some slower rock, anything that you need kind of a darker tone for, this is the drum that I reach for. It's a larger drum. It's 6.5 by 14. And if you remember the video I did on these just yesterday, but not sure when you'll be watching this, the video is the first in my drum maintenance series. And you'll remember that I put this head on there. It's a skin tone head. It's a Remo head. And on the bottom, I put a Remo ambassador head. So that's a little thicker than what I usually do. But the skin tone head is very dark sounding. So I'm trying to make a dark snare drum sound even darker. So it's very easy to make a snare drum sound bright. Pretty much, the Supraphonics can be a little bit bright. A lot of the Zelkovas, the Canopus drums I have, of course, several of the brass drums I use are very bright. But it's much harder to get a nice, full, dark sound. Excuse me. So this is the drum, like I said, I reach for that. Now I have it muffled slightly with this little piece of leather. When you take that off, it sounds like this. Now those are rim shots, and this is right in the center. So you see with this head, the drum does not have a lot of ring anyway. So it's got a bit of a ring, and a lot of times I will just put slight dampening on there. So I use this little piece of leather, like I said. I clip it to the rim, and that's it. I don't use any moon gel or anything usually, and that will ruin these skin tone heads anyway. It's kind of oily stuff, so that's all you need. The other thing this drum's great for is Latin music, because when you turn the snares off and take the muffling off, it's got a great ring. It's beautiful for that as well. So overall, I really love this drum, and cleaning it up, because this one was filthy, as you saw when I did that video. Changing the heads, which is a big thing, all right, if they've been on there for a while, and just using this skin tone head was a huge improvement from the way it sounded before. And I'm sure the cleaning didn't have too much to do with the sound. It's not like a cymbal where if you clean the cymbal, you're going to get a completely different sound. And I don't clean cymbals. I like them when they get a little dirty, get a patina on there. It kind of dries them out. So I don't normally clean cymbals. But snare drums, I like to keep them clean so they look good, and also so there's no oxidation or anything that happens. So we'll take a little break for a second, and then I'll put the next drum up on here, which, if you remember, was a Ludwig Black Beauty, a 90th anniversary drum. that's got some years on it. And on that I put calf heads top and bottom. So we'll be right back with that. So we're back with this Black Beauty here. And as you remember from the video yesterday, I put these calf heads on. The top head is a bit thicker, well, quite a bit thicker, than the bottom calf head, which is very thin. So I've been playing this drum now, well, this morning for about 3 hours, and I'm really enjoying playing it with the calf heads. What happens, and you'll see this here, is when you play a calf head, just literally touch it with a stick, it starts getting marked up. So since this is kind of a newer head, that's okay. Don't be alarmed by that when you start using a calf head. It will get marked up. And these heads will literally last forever unless you break them. So you don't want to play too loud. I would never play as loud as I was just playing with that Steve Ferrone drum. I'd probably just go right through this head. So this is more for lighter playing. That being said, it's a fairly loud drum. I have a chrome over brass Supraphonic here, an old one. This is the one I was talking about yesterday that I've been taking care of, so there's hardly any pitting on it. And I have a skin tone head on this one, and I use this drum a lot. If you watch some of those Rick Latham Funk Studies book videos, I use this. It's in the description which ones I used it on, but I use this on a lot of those. And of course, this is the classic kind of Steve Gadd sound, and it's just probably the most recorded drum in history. It's just a great drum. The chrome over brass ones are heavier than the regular Ludwig, and the Black Beauty's even heavier than this, quite a bit almost. You know, maybe a half heavier. So that's a different sounding drum. But like I said yesterday, I think of the Black Beauty as kind of a Supraphonic on steroids. It's the same exact size, but the shell is a bit heavier. The hardware is heavier, especially the rims. And it's got a deeper tone, especially with calf. So let's put this down. And I'll put that up here in a minute so you can compare the two. Right now, let's hear this drum. I'll just hit it a few times for you. So right away, it's completely different from that last drum, right? First of all, this drum is a lot more snarey. So being that they're calf heads, you're going to get kind of a looser sound. It's low-pitched and kind of high-pitched at the same time. With the snares off, see there, I'm playing with the butts of the stick just to give it more impact. Now it is raining here today as opposed to yesterday, and it's gotten a little bit cooler too. So even in the past couple minutes of me playing this, the drum's actually taken a nosedive. And that's the thing about calf heads that you have to remember, is that, you know, the pitch changes rapidly, especially when you get under hot lights or there's some humidity in the air. So it's not the best drum to use outside, that's for sure. Not the drum, but the heads, with the calf heads. So we just brought it up a little. That's better. Now this drum also has a really great crossroom sound. so it's got a lot of ring to it. Now let's put up the Supraphonic so you can hear the difference. And we'll very gently put this down here. Okay. All right, so this drum, I've modified this a little bit. I've changed out the rims, and the strainer's original. The muffler, I switched it out from kind of a baseball bat muffler to this round one. And I did put kind of a thing here to save the toms from it, since I use it so much. But this is one of my main gigging drums. You hear the difference right away. Not my first choice of a jazz drum. It's kind of dry. Right, this one's tuned a little bit higher, but again, it has that skin tone head. Now, one thing you have to remember today, in this setup, I am not using a snare drum mic. I'm using a bass drum mic and then a stereo mic overhead, which, if you watch all my videos, that's pretty much all I use anyway. For 98% of them, that's the only setup. So I'm not using a separate snare mic. If I did, you'd hear that more in-your-face kind of sound. And certainly when I record for people, I use a snare mic and might dial a little of that in. But right now, you're just hearing this overhead stereo mic. It's an AKG C24, and I do have a bass drum mic set up today, which is a Shure Beta 52, not a big deal with that. But right away you hear the difference in sound between the two. Now a lot of that is the calf heads. So, and obviously this drum is tuned a bit lower now. I tightened it up a lot, but it's raining out, so if I tightened it up, it would sound a little bit similar. But this drum with the calf heads is going to be darker and deeper and bigger. You might say fatter. A lot of people don't like that word, but it's just a bigger sound. And also, since the shell, I feel like is a little bit thicker and the rims are heavier, it's got kind of a solid, I don't know how to explain it, but when you play it, it feels more solid. It feels darker and deeper, even though it's the same exact size, literally. So that'll do it for today. I just wanted to show you these two drums. Now, I do use this drum, the Black Beauty, with the calf heads for playing jazz quite a bit. And on these drums, this is the same set that I've been doing all my kind of fusion, funk stuff on. This is going to go away for a while because I have some recording sessions I need it on. And I'm going to set up the Gretsch drum, the Centennial drum set once more. And we'll change out these for the Ks. This Jack DeJohnette cymbal is, like I said in many of my other videos, is one I like for using for fusion and rock. It's got a great bell. It doesn't necessarily match great with this Black Beauty. It matches really good as far as tone with this Supraphonic. It's a very dry cymbal. Okay. All right. So be good and be safe. Thanks.